were keeping me at a level around 18% ejection fraction. So I wasn't getting any worse, but I wasn't getting any better. So what was happening, though, was that over time, the dizzy spells would get worse, and the lethargy would get worse. And what initially was like a 30-second episode would become a 1-minute episode or a 5-minute episode. And I progressively got worse. It would have benefited me to be able to exercise. It would have benefited me to eat well. But I was not able to exercise at any beneficial rate at that point because I couldn't maintain a breath to be able to exercise that way, cardiovascularly. The years go by and things get worse. And again, you know, I sit down with my wife and we start planning, well, you know, you talk to insurance agents who say, all right, so listen, we don't realistically expect you to survive that long. No offense. But with your condition, you know, you're going to have some issues. So, you know, you start planning a life where you're not going to be around that long. My wife had to plan a life for what she was going to do beyond me. Again, you know, as I got worse, I would lay there in bed at night and I would wonder, I feel horrible. I feel like I'm dying, and yet I'm still here. But when I close my eyes tonight to go to sleep, is this it? Will I wake up tomorrow? How much can a body take before it just can't go on? And that's what I went through with ever worsening symptoms for 6.5 years. And as I got closer to 6.5 years, my lungs started filling up with fluids again. And I had to prop myself up in bed for any, if I wanted to go to sleep, I had to be propped up in bed. Because if I lied down, my lungs would fill up with fluid completely, and you know, I would have drowned, basically, because my heart wasn't strong enough to pump the fluids out. I would have more episodes where I was completely out of it than actually being aware and conscious. And that's just kind of how my world started to go. And I wondered, along with how long can I go like this, I started thinking, well, if I die, it's not necessarily a bad thing because I'm just going to keep getting worse. And so I made my peace with death because, and I actually at certain points hoped for it sooner than later because I wanted to still maintain part of who I was. I used to think about death as this thing that comes quick and sudden, and you're here one minute and you're gone the next. But going over those 6.5 years to 7 years, ultimately, I started thinking about it as this slow process that picks away parts of who you are until you're no longer the person you think you are anymore. And people are just taking care of you, and you're in a vegetative state. 2010, I go to see my doctor, my cardiologist, and he says, Derek, I'm sorry, your heart's gotten worse. I don't think that I can maintain you on medications anymore, and the defibrillator is not enough as a backup. We need to put you in the heart transplant waiting list. And I said, okay, that's the next step. That's what we do. For the dilated cardiomyopathy, it could always, not always, but it can be managed with medications to a certain point. But the only true cure is a new heart. So I found a heart transplant hospital in the Philadelphia area, and they took really good care of me. I went in and I met with the head of the program, and she sat me down and she said, "Derek, you're in bad shape. Anybody who gets this far to see me, you're in bad shape. That being said, we've got you now. We're going to put you through some compatibility tests to see what kind of heart you need. And you're not there yet to the point where you need the heart, but it's good that you're here now, because we're going to keep an eye out. We're going to put you on the heart transplant waiting list. We're going to keep an eye out for that perfect match of a heart, and we're not going to let you die." She said, "Guys like you don't smoke, you don't drink, you don't do anything to damage your body. Other than the cancer that you went through, you're relatively young. Your body has been compensating for your poorly performing heart. And you've gone a lot further than you normally would have, but at some point very soon, your other organs will no longer be able to compensate for that poorly performing heart, and they will start to shut down. And when they do, your health is going to drop like it's falling off the edge of a cliff. And that's where we'll be to catch you. That's when you'll come into the hospital, and we'll figure out what we have to do at that point. If it's an external pump to bridge you until transplant, that's what we'll do. If we find the right heart for you, then we'll put that in you, and we'll get you back going."